Hi, everybody. I'm Brian Duffy, and welcome to this edition of 19 Newsmakers. We feel that this is going to be a very important digital show that will air every Monday at 6:30 for people in and around Cleveland and Northeast Ohio. We plan on bringing people, the movers and shakers, for lack of a better phrase, the people who are getting things done, the people who have their finger on the pulse of what's happening in and around this city, and we are going to cover every avenue of that. And this week we are going to start with Terry Coyne, and Terry is the Executive Vice Chair of the Cleveland office of Newmark, a commercial real estate services firm. So why is a commercial real estate services firm important to the people of Northeast Ohio? I'm going to ask you that, Terry. Why does commercial real estate, why should it matter to people in Northeast Ohio about what's going on in downtown Cleveland?
When you ask about commercial real estate, people typically think of downtown. They don't think about the warehouses in the suburbs. And downtown historically has been about 75% of the value of the entire city resides from about East 12th to West 9th Street. So historically, the money has been spent, the towers have been built, and when people say, how's Cleveland doing, they think about downtown. And that seems to be kind of a mental point that people want. What's happening downtown? You're going down to Indians, Guardians games, Cavaliers games, Browns games. People have their psyche as the center of, it's really 1 square mile. And how is it doing?
Yeah. How is it doing?
It's a good question. So from an office market perspective, in the mid-1990s, we were about 25 million square feet. Pre-COVID, we were about 19. Today, we're trending to about 8 to 10 million square feet of office. That's the metric that matters, because office is dense. There's 4 people per 1,000. When you go to work and you have office buildings that are filled, you got people walking on the streets. So as we shrink the office market, which is shrinking because of co-working and hybrid work, it's also shrinking because of AI. But those are macro trends that affect the day-to-day guy trying to sell coffee on the corner. They affect the retail on the first floor. And that is really the metric we should be looking at. Housing is great. It's done very well. I would argue housing was a bubble because from 2008 until about 2024, money was free. So when interest rates were low and incentives were high, the apartment conversions were great.
Yeah.
Those have stopped, essentially.
Right.
And the office market is shrinking. So we need to be thoughtful about what happens going forward.
Is it still shrinking, or is it leveled off? Since obviously COVID was the big driver to this. It
Right.
drove us to hybrid. It drove us to people working from home. We can get into that in a million different ways, but the bottom line is, was it COVID, and is it leveled off, or has it gone up since COVID? Is there any positives in that?
There are positives. So it's interesting in Europe, when COVID came back, when it was gone, Europe went to work. If you go to Europe today, go to London, it's 110% what it was before COVID. And I mean, a lot of cities in America are back to where they were. We're not quite there. So our family was in the parking business. And I can tell you the health of a downtown by looking at parking revenues. Mm-hmm. And they have steadily gone up since COVID. They haven't quite hit pre-COVID numbers. But there is a slow but steady march back toward office, toward apartments. It's just not back to where it was. The trend is good, but we want more people in the office. Apartments are great, but for every 1 apartment, you're going to get 4 people in an office. And that's really what you want to invest in.
Is that the most critical issue facing downtown Cleveland? I know there's a lot. There's safety and there's a lot of other things. But to getting people in the streets and getting Cleveland to be a city on the rise like a Nashville or something like that, is that it? We need more bodies in downtown?
Yeah, I mean, the office market's actually healthy when you look at healthy buildings. So when you look at very good, Key Tower being an example, that's a first-class building. You go in there any day and it's busy. People going to the coffee shop, going to the Marriott, going to work. It's the cash flow that's on that building, it's all public, is doing super well, right? So there is a demand for office space that is in good shape, in a good location, and is safe. The problem we have is that we have a lot of older Class C buildings that haven't been converted. They're still kind of in downtown and they're half empty. And they're kind of dragging the market down. So we need, when those go into receiverships and go into foreclosure, we need it to be cleaned out faster. Right now, you can have a receivership in Cleveland take 4 or 5 years. Years. So as that is happening, the tenants aren't getting their bills paid. It's not being maintained. And so those tenants will slowly leak out somewhere else.
Right.
And it's happened a lot. So that is, if I had 2 wishes for my Christmas gift this year, I would like faster receivership and faster permits. These are issues we can solve for, but not a lot of people care.
Yep. And is it that simple thing? Is it the permits and the receivership and the courts moving faster to get the office market to grow faster?
No, it's not that simple. I mean, safety matters. Safety is a big piece of it. But you can, by example, I can tell you why it will work. If you go to Valor Acres in Brecksville, You go to 77 at the new full four-way interchange. If you go down there were supposed to be 2 buildings that were built for Sherwin-Williams. I believe there's 5, and I think there's more coming. You go to Rockside Road, and that market has never been stronger. Go to the east side, and is doing very well. You go to other cities, and office is doing reasonably well. Not fantastic. I mean, New York is back to where it was pre-COVID and better. Jerry Seinfeld wrote that thing in 2021 and said New York will come back. He was right. So people do want to go to the office. My daughters work with me. Young people want mentors. They want to go to the office. They want to learn. They want to go out after work. I mean, when you started your career, you made good friends. When I made great friends. I hated my first job. Hated every day of my first job. Right. And I love the people I work with. Yeah. Right? So the younger folks do, my interns, when I have interns every summer, I got 3 coming this summer, they all, not only do they come to the office, but they sit like they're still in college. They all have desks, but they sit around a conference table. Yeah. And they have no trouble getting in on time, and they stay to the end of the day. So there is a demand. The issue that we have is quality. And if we had good quality buildings that were in good shape, we would be doing very well. But the city needs to issue permits faster. The downtown needs to be safer. And if someone borrows too much money and they lose a building, they should be forced to lose the building faster. If you go to Texas, they can foreclose on buildings in 60 days. Yeah. So maybe they're too fast, but 5 years is too long, right? So
basically we have these older properties that are sitting, and they're sitting for years, and nothing is being done, and they're getting worse and worse and worse, and that is just not creating opportunity for anyone to get in there, refurbish them, and do anything positive with them. That's the bottom line, and we've got a lot of that in the city of Cleveland.
Look at the Rockefeller building, right? Built by John D. Rockefeller, I think in the 1890s. That was just acquired by Doug Price. God bless him for buying it. He's paying $5 million for a building that hasn't been occupied for probably 4 or 5 years. And vandals got in and stole all the copper and destroyed the building. It was so bad that there was a YouTube video made by some college students that they put online. The city knew that the building was in terrible shape, didn't enforce code, didn't do what they should do. Meanwhile, they're worried about the Browns or the next big shiny object. How about just enforce code on a building located across from a Fortune 500 world headquarters? Mm-hmm. Now, he paid $5 million for a building with $70 million in tax credits. Well, I mean, so he didn't pay anything, right? So that tells you how bad it is that he paid $5 million to get 70, so a net of 65, and he's still not sure if it's a good deal. Right. So God bless him for doing it, but it tells you how difficult it is. The city should have come in earlier. They should have enforced code earlier. The borrower should have been wiped out faster. I mean, the market does have creative destruction. There is a demand, and we shouldn't be afraid. If someone makes a mistake, that's life.
Coming up next with our guest, downtown real estate developer Terry Coyne, office workers are a key as developers look where to make their investments. But what else matters to people looking at downtown? That part of this story and this interview coming up. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Downtown Cleveland in the last 15 years has exploded with new resident, retail, and things to do. Compared to 25 years ago, there is no comparison. The question is, where does the growth come from? Our guest is Terry Coyne, the executive director of Newmark, a real estate company. But your concern is that this is leveled off, and you've mentioned this already in this interview, that the apartment conversions are taking place as fast as they once did. Is that because there isn't the want from people wanting to move into downtown, or that's just reached a saturation point?
No, there's a demand, and I can prove it by looking at Ohio City, Tremont, Hingetown, Gordon Square, right? So there's clearly a demand for interesting housing in good neighborhoods. You could argue that those neighborhoods are a failure of downtown. I mean, so since downtown wasn't working, those erupted, and now they're doing super well. So that age cohort wants to live in cool, interesting places, right? So
Which downtown is.
It is, and it has all and frankly, it's better. I mean, right? So you look at what Dan Gilbert's doing with the Cosm, with the Cavaliers, with the sports complex. Amazing. We're lucky to have him and the stuff that he's investing in. I don't know if he'll ever make money, and I'm not sure if I care, right? I'm happy that he's investing in our town at the rate that he is. We're lucky to have him. But the downtown housing market from 08 till 2022 had 0% interest, 1% interest, and it had 100% tax abatement. And those two incentives made the market take off. Now, 15 years later, those incentives have burned off, and vacancies have gone up. And you see rents coming down, which causes people to stop building new because they're there's a high vacancy.
Yeah.
I would argue that the city of Cleveland should get rid of tax abatement. And I've said this, and they should give a tax credit to you once you spend the money. Because if you get tax abatement, what happens is the seller gets a piece of that. So, and I'm just as guilty. My team has sold millions of square feet in downtown Cleveland. And if I'm selling a building with tax abatement, I'm going to say, hey, Brian, this building has tax abatement, so you can pay me more. Well, that wasn't the point.
Right.
So the seller's getting a piece. So get rid of tax abatement, which will drive prices down. And if it drives prices down, that makes it easier for you, the investor, to pay less and spend more. And if he spends more, give him a credit.
Right.
But only give it to him after he spends. Because right now we have perverse incentives. And we
Are cities doing that kind of thing?
No. The state of Ohio has a opportunity zone tax credit. If you spend money, you get a credit on your income taxes in Ohio in an opportunity zone, of which Cleveland is. So the federal government does it for historic tax credits for air rights. They do it all the time. And the city of Cleveland could mimic what the state of Ohio is. They could do the exact same paperwork, same program, get rid of tax abatement tomorrow. You don't need it. Make it a tax credit, and I think it would drive prices down and increase investment.
Okay, explain it real quick one more time what the tax credit means for people who are buying the buildings and want to tear them apart and put apartments in that. How specifically does that help them?
If you are buying a building right now and there is tax abatement, then you will buy it, you'll invest, and then you will get your taxes abated for 85% for 15 years.
Okay.
So your taxes are lower, and that allows you to lease it out, and you make money. My theory is if you get rid of the abatement, then the value of the building will go down. So the sellers get crushed.
Right.
I'm sorry, whatever, it's
Right.
over. But if I spend $1 and you give me a 10% tax credit, then you could give me that tax credit against my real estate taxes. So if I spend, let's give an example. Let's say I spend $10 million fixing a building up, and I get a $1 million credit. So I have $1 million now. So my tax bill shows up, and let's say my tax bill for the first year is $200,000. I take
how you're
$200
paid.
and peel it off.
Right.
And it encourages you to not only spend more, but it encourages you to keep spending.
Okay.
Because right now, tax abatement, you get it at the beginning, and you don't have any incentive to keep spending.
Is that a political thing somehow?
I think people think I'm crazy. I might be the only. A lot of people who are developers downtown don't agree with me.
Right.
And I don't know if they've ever broached. It's such a simple complex. The federal government does it. The state already does it. It's a better way to do it.
Okay. So the other issue that I hear about, and that I look at downtown, and the city wants to talk about downtown as a neighborhood, and that's what I hear people saying, and my kids are in that age group. Oh, I want mine, but they don't want to be downtown and have Heinen's, which God love Heinen's because I do,
yeah,
and Constantino's
right
down there too, and that's it. There's not a Target. There's not any type of retail. And I know kids buy everything online now. So maybe there doesn't need to be a Geiger's, which we lost because of COVID. Maybe we're not going to get that kind of retail. But we need a dry cleaner, and we need a Target, and we need some of that. Is that a problem? Is that keeping people from moving downtown? And why don't we have a Target in downtown Cleveland? I guess that's the simple question.
Yeah, the foot traffic. It's that easy, right? I mean, it's that easy. I mean, this isn't a complex business. There's not enough foot traffic. Warehouse District is doing super well, but that's primarily a residential neighborhood.
But you can't get the foot traffic till you get the Target.
Well, no, the foot traffic comes from the office buildings.
Okay.
So if you got the office buildings, the daytime foot traffic will be just as valuable to Target as the nighttime would, frankly more. Because there's just, there's more. I mean, you've seen those pictures from the 50s, right? Guys wearing fedoras, the sidewalks are packed, and people are, jostling to get around each other. And imagine, well, of course you'd have look at the old Union Commerce building. They had retail on the first floor and in the basement. Rents were through the roof. It was all daytime foot traffic. And are we going to get back to that? Probably not, but that maybe you have some type of city incentive for landlords to have first floor retail. The landlords that I work for do deals with retail tenants where they are giving them free rent, or they're doing leases that are really favorable to the tenant because they realize it helps the building. Mm-hmm. I mean, our office building's got a Peloton, it's got pickleball courts, it's got a driving range, it's got 3 restaurants in it, Wicking Lizard, all to support the building. And I don't know if he's making any money off of that first floor. But it drives traffic. People want to be there, right?
Right. So it's driving traffic from other buildings?
Other buildings, but it also, you want to be in that building. Right. If you're in this building, you get to use the golf driving range for free, you get to use the Peloton for free, pickleball, and the pickleball courts at 5 o'clock on Wednesdays packed. In an office building, right?
Yeah, maybe they should put pickleball courts everywhere around now.
Yeah,
then everything would be packed.
I mean, look at East 4th Street after work, right? I mean, Gateway's done really well. It's about amenities that we don't have because of the daytime foot traffic.
We'll take a quick break here and be right back with Terry Coyne with his concerns right now about the downtown Cleveland market. We'll be right back. Our guest is Terry Coyne. He's the executive director of Newmark, a Cleveland real estate firm, as he lends his expertise to 19 newsmakers about the challenges facing Cleveland from a real estate perspective. A key driver of the city's success, we've talked about apartments, retail, office space, and now his big concern.
I love the idea of a Target. I'm all for it. I think
it's not going to happen.
No, I would be more worried that Heinen's leaves.
Yeah, I'm
right. I mean, Geiger's is gone. Heinen's, I'm certain, loses money. Yeah. I think that's their version of corporate philanthropy, and we're lucky that that family cares so much about Cleveland that they're willing to put it there. But with such low foot traffic, maybe they make up for it on game days.
Right.
But I would be more worried about losing than gaining, especially at that hard corner right there.
So is that a critical? We talked about it with the office space. Now we're talking about it with the retail. Are we in a critical place, in your opinion, with foot traffic?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 100%. I think what we should do is increase the ambassadors that we have on the streets. Downtown Cleveland Alliance has got 64 ambassadors, right? Let's double that. And let's take all the people in the office for downtown Cleveland and reallocate them on the streets. We need clean and safe, clean and safe. And I think once you make it clean and safe, you will drive, I mean, proof of it is at Ohio City, Hinchtown, right? Yeah. They're clean and they're safe. So these aren't novel concepts. I'm not landing somebody on the moon. This is something that's already happening in other parts of our area.
Right.
So I don't think it's that hard.
Is there a comparable city or something that was in a similar place like Cleveland and did the right things and kind of grabbed themselves up and made them into something different?
Yeah, I mean, we're the same age. Nashville in 2000 wasn't the greatest place on the planet. Arguably, Cleveland was a better city. In 2000, the community got together. They embraced country music. It is today the #1 destination for bachelorette parties. And the bachelorette parties have brought younger people to Nashville. And it has 56 cranes in the sky today. Amazon, Oracle, there's lots of companies moving there because they embrace safety and country music. Well, we have rock, right? And so we got a better brand, so let's embrace rock. And what does that mean? Maybe we have more bars that are rock oriented. I mean, you've been to Broadway. It's all amazing country music.
Oh yeah, it is a wonderful place to go.
Right.
I mean, I can't.
Unbelievable.
I mean, I've been there a couple times, and it's it's just a fantastic afternoon or night or whatever you want. You go there at 10 o'clock in the morning, and every place is packed.
Kid Rock's there, Toby Keith's there, and Broadway's pretty wide.
Right.
Right. I mean, if you were to take Euclid, it's actually a better street for something like that.
Yeah.
So how do you embrace rock? And they have a Dora, so you can drink outside and walk down the street.
Well, you embrace rock the same way they embraced country music. You just put it in. You just have a bunch of venues.
I mean, I'm biased. I'm on the board of the Rock Hall. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Museum is 1,000,000 times better than the Country Music Hall of Fame. And I'm sure this is going to go online, and somebody from Nashville will disagree with me. I don't care. We have a better museum, and we need to leverage their concept here.
Well, they shouldn't be mad because you're telling us what a great concept
it is. But we still have a better museum.
And they did. So, right. Well, I agree. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is fantastic. My wife just had her high school girlfriends came in from out of town, and they said, we want to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's exactly what they said. They spent 3 or 4 hours there, and they went to the Cavs game. So,
perfect.
I mean, we have so much going for us here. I mean, when I look at it, and from when I was a kid, and there was those dingy flats, but they were so much fun, and then it changed, and they're coming back a little bit. But safety has to be addressed there, clearly. What about hotels here in Cleveland? Where are we with that? I just saw that Holiday Inn on the Euclid and East 6th is now going to be, I think it's a Marriott, AC Marriott now. I feel like we have a lot of hotels in this city do we need all these hotels?
That's pretty amazing.
Do we have too many?
For a guy who's not in the real estate business, you're right. That's pretty intuitive of you. We are at 62% occupancy. And when you hit 70% occupancy, which doesn't sound like a long way, but it actually is, then you can start talking about new.
Yeah. Let me ask you about my favorite spot in downtown Cleveland. And I wasn't planning on doing this, but you have a handle on everything that's going on. And I don't know what's going on there, but it just seems like such a wasted space to me.
I can't wait.
The arcade.
Oh.
I absolutely, if I'm walking around downtown, which I do sometime, I always find myself at the arcade and I just walk in and I stand there and I look around because I love it.
Yeah.
And St. Patrick's Day is one of my favorite days of the year. We're both Irish.
Right.
Just because of that. I go there every St. Patrick's Day just to see all those people that's a hotel. What is it, a Hyatt?
Yeah, yeah.
Hyatt?
It's incredible, right? I mean, it was built by John D. Rockefeller
Right.
and 3 of his partners. They found signed contracts from him in the basement when they redid it.
What's going on there?
I mean, that's the story of first floor retail, right? I mean, and as we're sitting here solving the world's problems, maybe that's where you put rock music. I mean, maybe you embrace it there.
Right.
Maybe too loud. They use it for weddings. It's a great cut through, and it's always an Instagrammable destination.
Right.
I can't tell you how often people will ask me, "Oh, where's the arcade?"
Right.
And so I agree with you. It's built in the late 1890s. It's remarkable.
Yeah, it's a beautiful spot. We have we didn't we didn't cover Burke. Let's do that real quick before we wrap this up. So we're losing the Browns in the city of Cleveland.
Right.
I don't know how you feel about them moving to Brook Park. We could probably go on about that for hours.
Yeah.
Now the administration, Mayor Bibb's administration, is trying to close down Burke because they want to build a big development, whatever it's going to be there. Is that a good idea?
No, not at all. I think in the list of things that you do when you wake up, that should not be on the to-do list. By their own report that the organization that supports closing Burke wrote, they said it would cost you $650 million and generate $2.2 million of economic activity. And it's already generating $600. So a net of $1.5 million on $600 million, and it would take 10 to 15 years. So you don't know how much it's going to cost or how long it's going to take, but let's spend our precious time working on it? No. Let's spend our precious time fixing the arcade. Let's fix the streets. Leave the airport alone. Joby just bought a 1 million square foot building in Dayton. Joby makes the electric cars that take off. Mm-hmm. In 10 years from now, what if we're all flying cars? And what if we need an airport? There's so many things to do on your to-do list. Don't spend time on a landfill airport that may or may not be a good idea when there's so many ideas that are good ideas. Mm. And the Browns leaving, what would I do? I can tell you exactly what I would do. I would go to Bartlett Maritime, a company headquartered in Cleveland that is looking for 50 acres to put a repair submarine component center, 5,000 jobs, mostly welders, union, well paid, put them right there. By the time the Browns leave, they would show up. And then you wouldn't have leisure, but you'd have 5,000. Imagine if you had 5,000 people working on the water.
Isn't that incredibly valuable property right there on the lake?
Yeah,
to do something?
For what? I mean, for what you can do a hotel. I mean, the market for hotels is bad, right? Office, we got a lot.
I don't know. I'm not a developer. I'm asking.
No,
asking. Everybody watching this is now asking you why wouldn't we put a beach there?
You got Edgewater.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you got the Metro Parks that did a great job with. You already got a beach, right? But if you want to fight AI, they say that AI makes you 11.9% more productive and lowers employment by 4.5%, right? So that means you're getting more productive and fewer jobs. That's horrifying, right? But if you have to fix submarines, you need a place to fix them.
Right.
5,000 jobs, put it there. That would be amazing. They would spend money. They'd go to lunch. They'd have foot traffic. But to add it, to have another municipal golf course, soccer, pickleball, we don't spread the downtown out. Keep it downtown, keep it focused. It goes back to your first question. This is where we spent the money. This is the infrastructure.
Right.
Let's focus on what we have.
Okay. And there's also the shore to core to shore that the mayor's, is that, and Dan, like you mentioned, Dan Gilbert they built a beautiful thing with the Cleveland Clinic together that they're doing down there. I'm going to let you kind of take the last question, Terry. What haven't I asked you that you think is important to people when we start talking about business and real estate in Northeast Ohio, in Cleveland? Is there anything? We talked about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my message would be that there is a demand for office space in downtown Cleveland. Our region is doing super well. Our team does industrial deals, office deals. On the industrial side, we're booming. There's so much activity in manufacturing and distribution. You don't usually see it every day, but it's, we're the Rust Belt, right? In the 1950s, there were a lot of blue-collar jobs. Those jobs are coming back. I see it every day. So the big picture is very rosy. When you really isolate it down to the downtown, people kind of put their hat on and they're sour. There are ways to solve it. They're not hard to solve, and there's demand for the product. You just got to get out of your way.
Right. Okay. Terry?
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Enjoyed it. Learned a lot. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. That's Terry Coyne, who's the Executive Vice Chair of the Cleveland office of Newmark. They are a commercial real estate firm. And that's going to do it for this edition of Newsmakers. Thank you so much for joining us. We stream every Monday at 6:30.